Welcome to the Voices of the Goddess podcast. We believe that there is a goddess inside each and every one of us. When we use our voice to share that goddess, we support and uplift each other. Join us each week as we interview women to receive the message of their goddess within. Everyone, and welcome to Voices of the Goddess podcast, where we empower, inspire, and uplift women to be the goddesses they were meant to be. I'm your co-host, Julietta, also called the Magical PT. I own Body and Soul Physical Therapy in Fort Lauderdale, and here I'm definitely an outside-of-the-box, holistic, alternative physical therapy practitioner where I help people create balance and healing in their bodies so that they can get out there in life and do the things that they want to do without being limited by their body. I am a podcast host, as you can see here, and I'm also, I'll make the joke, I'm a butcher, a baker, a candlestick maker. Not really, although I said that to somebody and they have challenged me. They want me to do a rap about that. I'm afraid I just because now you're probably really going to hold me to it.
Yes, that'll be a video.
So that'll be my next slash, Julietta the rapper. Yes. But I also create jewelry. I paint. I wrote a chapter in an international best-selling book, and I'm probably forgetting something that I do, but and that was also the inspiration for I'm Every Woman and the inspiration for our video. So if you haven't checked that out, you can find it on our page. But I am joined today by a special co-host because Allison can't make this episode for me. But Jess, our producer, who, if you've watched our show, I'm sure you've met her already, but she is stepping up and co-hosting with me today. So please, Jess, introduce yourself to our audience and tell them a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Thank you so much. So glad to be here. This has been really fun. This is my second one as a co-host. We just did the first one and it was really cool. It's really fun. I could get used to this. Allison better watch out. Just kidding, maybe. Okay, so slashes. I'm the producer for Voices of the Goddess. So I do podcasts and video editing. I also do social media. I also have my own YouTube channel. It's mostly adventure travel and my life and my family. I haven't posted those yet. I'm still working on the editing and creating this whole thing for it. So I just got to do it. Right, Julietta? Just jump in and just do it.
Get her done.
Get her done. I'm a new employee with Outshine Film Festival, LGBTQ Film Festival, which is really cool. It's my first time doing stuff in that industry, and it's obviously really fun. We basically throw parties and watch movies and talk to the talent, directors, and actors. They'll be coming to our festival, which is in Miami, April 22nd through May 1st in South Beach. So there's that. And finally, I'm also a muralist. I've done 2 so far, but I'm starting this new business, so I'm looking for more work. See if you want to hire me, and pretty cool. It's out on Instagram at Outside the Lines Murals. So check that out. And that's everything that I do, but I'm also a lover and a fighter for love, and I'm from Miami, and I do lots of stuff, and I'm interested in all kinds of stuff. So I think, and I'm part of the queer community, and I forgot to say this in the last one. I'm genderqueer, so I identify as both as they, he, and she. And so I forgot to mention that last one because it was kind of really pertinent to the topic and the guest, but at least I'm saying it here. Yeah.
We always forget to share stuff, and it's like after the episode, you're like, I should have said that. And it's all good. It's all good. So next, we have a sponsor this month. And I want to thank Jewel Toned Interiors for sponsoring us. They are an award-winning, women-owned interior design company located in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Fort Lauderdale Magazine named Jewel Toned Interiors the #1 interior designer in town. and they transform lives by the creation of experiential interiors for all people, is what drives them produce environments that truly reflect the unique personality of each and every client they have the pleasure to work with. Imagine how a strategic work environment can positively impact your bottom line. It's proven to increase employee productivity and morale while making a lasting impression on customers and new hires. The jewel-toned interior gems come from a variety of backgrounds with experiences in many industries, from restaurants and retail to offices and multifamily housing. They are proud to be trusted with something as important as your vision, so let them bring it to life for you. It all starts with an idea, so let them help you consider the possibilities today. Discover more about jewel-toned interiors and what they're capable of at jeweltonedinteriors.com.
Thank you.
Thank you to them. And, I've seen some of their work. It is just beautiful. If you need an interior designer, you can't go wrong with choosing them. They are amazing. All right. So, I mentioned to Jess off stage, and it's, there are no coincidences. There's always synchronicity in life. But in my practice here, a topic that's been coming up a lot over the last week has been responding versus reacting. And, so often people are just walking around reacting to life and what's going on around them. And we always have the choice to take a breath and respond as opposed to reacting. And I'm not even sure everybody understands what the difference is. Yeah. But when we react, it's like, it's just like a reflex. There's no brain power involved in it. You speak or act without even thinking about it. And lots of problems can arise when you do that.
Yes.
But when you slow down and breathe and make a choice about how you want to respond to something, the world could be a different place.
I mean, think about driving in South Florida. I cannot be challenged more into making that decision of responding or reacting when from driving. That's it. I am not good at it. Like, I'm a good driver, but I yell a lot in my car, windows closed. But I'm just like, why did you do that? And that's a reaction. That is not a response. It's just immediate. And I'm like, wow, I couldn't even catch myself. Sometimes, but rarely. Yeah.
Well, so since you brought up driving, I think about this a lot with driving. We have, like, South Florida is a recipe for disaster with driving because, okay, you have, the natives and the people that live here, and we kind of understand things here. But South Florida is a huge tourist destination. It's a huge senior destination. The snowbirds come in winter down here. It's also a huge international destination. So we have drivers from all over the world. So, we have people that are lost, that aren't familiar with the driving environment here. And you think about how you drive when you're stressed. It's not the same as when you're relaxed and you know where you're going. And, so there's a lot of lost people down here. And, then you see the people railing on their horns. And I just think, okay, the person that you're honking your horn at is stressed out already. And now you're shooting at them and you're stressing them out even more. Do you actually think that's going to make them a better driver?
It just makes me feel better.
Well, I challenge you going forward to think about, like if it's a tourist that's lost, someone that's not from down here and they're not sure what to do, you honking your horn at them is probably going to make it even harder for them to figure out and decide what to do. So,
you're crazy tourists.
And we get to be grateful for them because that's what supports the South Florida economy. You know, we are we get to be grateful for those people that drive us crazy.
Yes, we do. I accept the challenge. I will be more compassionate. I will attempt to. I live in South Miami. I don't know how many tourists are here, but you have a good point. You have a good point. Either way, I kind of try to avoid driving because I don't like feeling that way. And so I'll plan my day around traffic. And luckily, I live in a place where everything's really close, so I don't have to go far. I do that on purpose.
So I'll be checking back in with you about how that's going.
Check in, because I would rather respond
instead of reacting.
What's the appropriate response? I guess nothing. Just wait and respond to myself. Like, oh, remember, take a breath, and then the traffic will move. You know.
And also, just because it's who I am, I send supportive energy. You're all about love. Send them love, Jess.
Okay, that will help actually. I'll be like, all right, sending love. Hurry your ass up, but lovingly.
And, you know, there's the phrase, I think I brought this up on another one. People say, what would Jesus do? I love Jesus and everything, but I'm not a real, you know, that's not my vibe. But I would say, what would love do?
Right. I think Jesus was really calm. I don't know much about him, but he probably would be a good driver too.
Yeah.
So in this case, that applies.
He was a source for love. So
he was a source for love. Absolutely.
So as to not offend anybody, I choose what would love do.
Love do. Okay. Gotcha. So all right. That's good. I'll remember that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right. Let's bring our guest on today. Natalie, welcome.
Hello. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you. Thank you so much for joining us. Would you please introduce yourself to our audience? Tell them a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Sure. Well, I'm a native New Yorker, so that will always be there. That I live in sunny Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I've been here for 10 years. Love living here. And I am a life coach who supports people going through life transitions. So career changers, empty nesters, someone going through a divorce, people that are retiring and say, oh my God, what am I going to do for the second half of my life? I don't know. Even people moving across the country. So I support people to successfully transition through these changes. I am also a health coach. I've been doing health coaching for over 11 years. And also a Reiki practitioner. So that's moving energy in the body, if you're not familiar with Reiki. And in terms of what I like to do for fun, I love the beach, living here in Fort Lauderdale. Also a tennis player, love to practice yoga. And even being a health coach, I still love food, just in balance. And also a big traveler. So that's just a little bit about me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Just a cue out there to that. We had a last minute cancellation and Natalie graciously stepped in last minute here. And so just wanted to let you know that really appreciate
that. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Happy to be here.
So we have questions that we like to ask every guest, and we're going to dive straight into those. So our first question is, what is one book that you wish every goddess would read and why?
Okay. So I went to the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, which is based in New York City. I was founded by Joshua Rosenthal, and this is the book, Integrative Nutrition, that we all received as a student. And I think it's fabulous because it's not just about food or dietary theory. You know, there's definitely information in there on all the different eating styles. So macrobiotics, Ayurveda, high carb diet, low carb diet, Atkins, it's all in there. But what I really love about this and why I'm recommending it is that Joshua has coined a term. He calls it primary food and secondary food. So secondary food is really about what we eat, what we put in our mouth, vegetables, protein, nuts, what we drink, water, all of that. And your primary food is really about what feeds you and nourishes your soul. So it's your relationships. It could be exercise, your spirituality, a career, anything that really fills the soul. And I loved this concept, and I could see how it impacted my life and how I work with clients in that you can have all the right food, but if you're not feeling nurtured and fulfilled in your primary food, what you put in your body is only going to impact so much. So I just love the term of primary food and how you really take care of your body and how you treat yourself and your relationship with others. So that's why I love this book. It is really great too, because he goes through the USDA food pyramid and food marketing. And just if you have no idea about nutrition and you say, well, I just want to read a book that I can understand. I don't have to be an expert. I don't have to understand what macros and micros are. This is really just a great book to read through. It's an easy read. So that's my book recommendation.
I love it. Sounds great.
Like that. That's the first time I've heard the concept of primary and secondary food. And I love that.
Yeah.
Because it is true. Like, we don't just nurture ourselves with food, but there's other kinds of nutrition that our body needs besides just that fuel. And that's a great way of looking at it. I love that.
Yeah. Thanks to Joshua. Yeah.
All right. So our second question is, what is your favorite self-care practice and how does it support you?
Okay. Well, I really have two. I think I had mentioned that to you offline. I said, well, I have two. Do I have to choose? So my first one is my monthly massage, which I've probably been doing for the 10 years that I've lived here. And I think self-care is so important. And for me, it's massage. For other people, it could be a different modality. It could be getting reflexology on the feet, or an acupuncture treatment, or physical therapy, or Reiki. For me, the massage just really gets my whole nervous system to calm down. I mentioned earlier, I'm a tennis player using my left hand. So this side is always like a little sore versus the other side. So the massage just really helps. And I never skip my massages. I have a membership and I go once a month. They're great massage therapists. So I think self-care, body care is so important.
Okay.
So that's my go-to. The other piece, though, I would have to say is really meditation, just sitting down. I can't say I'm perfect at it. I'm a work in progress. Trying to stick to having meditation every day, using guided meditation to calm myself down. Not that I'm stressed all the time, but we do live in a crazy world. We've just come through COVID. And so meditation is really a tool that works for me. I was actually exposed to meditation when I was younger. My uncle, who's a chiropractor, gave me a book on meditation when I was probably 10 or 11 years old. Needless to say, I did not read it or look at it. I put it on the shelf for many, many years, even though I grew up in a family that was very open to Eastern medicine, meditation. And when the time was right, I gravitated to the book and then took a meditation class. But, I like to tell my clients and friends, you don't have to be an expert. There's so many guided meditations on the internet that are free. You can go to YouTube. I personally use Tara Brock. She was my meditation teacher in Maryland. But the health insurance companies, even Cigna, Aetna, have meditation links on their website. So you don't have to be an expert. Just try it out and see how it works for you. And just keep going, because there's no right way to meditate. People say, how am I doing it right? Just try it. It really does help calm your nervous system down, calm your whole body down.
Which is, I think, the whole point, which is why you don't have to be such an expert. It's like you could do it like before or after lunch, but you're at work, go sit outside in a bench or on the bench or something, just to like slow down your body, slow down your brain, because you get like, really fast, like, oh, I got to do this paperwork and this project. And so you take a second to catch your breath. So,
absolutely.
Just to stop.
Yeah, you raise a great point, and I've suggested it to people. If you have an office, close the door. If you don't, go into a break room. You can pull out your cell phone and pull up a guided meditation for 2 minutes, 5 minutes. There are short ones. So if you're having a rough day at work, you're stressed out, or your kids were driving you crazy in the morning, you can be anywhere, not driving, but anywhere really, at work, and find 2 to 5 minutes and do the meditation. So it's such a great tool.
Yeah.
Great tool.
We are huge fans of meditation on this show. And I love too that, because this is always the big thing is people are like, oh, there's a right way to meditate. No, there's so many different forms of meditation, and you find the one that works for you and use that. And, it doesn't have to be, everybody thinks of meditation sitting cross-legged with, oming or whatever.
I'll lay down.
That works for you, great, but that's not the only way to meditate. So love that. Yes. Yeah. All right. Our next question is, we all have those days where it's just really difficult to show up in life, but you got to anyway. So what tool do you pull out of your back pocket when you're having one of those days?
I would say it's a combination of things. So I years ago did a program called Self-Discovery Techniques. It's based on Florida. And they taught us a technique called present moment awareness, where like if your head's racing with 30 things, or, I just don't feel like doing this today, or I'm upset or stressed or whatever, to just bring myself back to the present moment. So basically it's being aware of the senses. So the sight, a sound and touch. So if I'm outside, I'll focus on the bird, the sound of the birds. And then sight, if you just look around anywhere, if I look behind me, I've got my paintings or just something, to just become aware of what's here. And then the touch could just be rubbing my hands together or just rubbing my arm to just kind of bring me back to present moment awareness, and just saying, I'm not caught up in the traffic jam from yesterday, or the kids acting poorly today, or my husband doing da-da-da-da. I'm here in the present moment. And so I can get up and go do what I have to do. And so that's helped. And I also like journaling. I'm a big believer in journaling. So just writing down how I feel, like, I don't want to get up today. I don't want to do this. And then just writing it out. And I think that's a release for me, to just get it all out. It doesn't mean that it's still don't feel upset about it, but it does actually release a lot of it when you just write it out, and you write like why I'm upset. And then I can just let it be in the past. I don't usually rip it up, but you can rip it up, burn it, and then just, start the day to do what I have to do. Yeah.
Great tools. I love PMA. I've done self-discovery myself, and
cool.
And I always say, things, a lot of times they just need to be given attention and awareness, and that in itself will allow you to let it go. But the whole idea of journaling it, like, what greater way to just give it full attention? Like, you're taking the effort to actually write it down and fully acknowledge it. And when we acknowledge things, it is much easier to let it go. So
yeah. And sometimes you can even just work it out, like, okay, why am I so upset, or why am I in a bad mood? And then when I write it out, and then I think of like, okay, well, what could I do to change it? But I think you have to get it out first before you can say, okay, now I'm going to get out of my funk and start the day or do something about it. Yeah.
Perfect.
I like that.
All right. Our next question, Natalie, is, and yes, everything that happens to us in our life shapes who we are, but we all tend to have those standout moments that really play a big role in shaping who we are. So what life experience have you had that has greatly formed who you are today?
Great question. I would say that probably my desire to travel and wanderlust. So when I was 16, I lived in New Jersey, and I had a high school that had an exchange program, and they would send students here for 2 weeks, and then we would go there. But I got it in my head that I wanted to go for at least a month. So I had the French teacher talk to the French teacher there, and they found a family that said, sure, in the summer, and they took me for a month. And so that was when I started my travel exploration and my interest in cultures and languages. So I ended up studying French through college and just loved exploring. That just kicked it off, and I backpacked through Europe when I was 21 by myself. And so I've just always loved exploring people, cultures, art, history. And so I think the parallel to that and shaping me who I am is that I'm always changing and evolving. And a lot of people will be like, what? You're doing what now? So
Yes.
career transition. So and I've loved all my careers, and I've had a career in finance for about 11 years and a brief stint in culinary, and then nutrition for 12 plus, and now life coaching. And I truly believe in evolving and growing and changing, because that's what my soul needs. That's what I need. And so I think the travel just showed me that life changes, world evolves, people are different. And so it kind of has given me that guidance of just saying, you can change and create and be whatever you want. And just that independent streak of going to do whatever I want. Yeah.
Yeah, I was an exchange student. I lived in Venezuela for a year, and that is my top experience that really, allowed me to become who I am. And so when you started, I was like, yep, experiencing international travel young I wish everybody could have that experience. It would greatly change the world out there. And I also love that you speak about, you've had multiple careers over your life. And, I think it's changing in the world today, but, when we were younger and thinking about parents and grandparents, it was like, you picked a career and you stuck with that. Whatever that was that you were going to do, you were going to be, that's what you did. And, I think we do there's so many sides to us and so many growth opportunities and change. And it's okay to change what you do. And, I am one of those, I just, last year was 30 years as a physical therapist. But in that career, I've changed greatly what I've done in that career. And then my side hustles have changed over the years. So, allowing ourselves to change and explore is a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And I think it's become more of the norm now. I remember 10, 15 years ago, people would see my resume and they'd say, you did what? You went from finance to culinary? Like, what? And now I think this generation, it's become more of the norm, and we're seeing it more. And of course, COVID has really pushed people into examining what they're doing with their life, not just career-wise, but where they live, what they want from life, and just saying, I don't have to stay in this if I'm not happy. So
that was me. That was definitely me. Yeah. I wanted to ask, it sounds like you've been to lots of places. What's your favorite country, I guess, or city or a travel experience that you've ever had?
Oh my gosh, I get that question and I'm like, that's so hard because there's so many places. I'm going to throw out a few. So when I went to Egypt, I was still working in finance, and one of the clients that we were working with on a project set up for us to see Valley of the Kings with the head of the Antiquities Department in Egypt. So my colleagues and I were the only ones, the three of us, down in King Tut's tomb. And that was phenomenal. Yeah.
Was this with Dr. Hawass, or was that before?
I'm sorry?
Was that with Dr. Hawass, or was that somebody else after?
I don't remember his name.
Okay.
I don't remember. I just remember the experience of the three of us being down there and just like amazed to see this tomb, and then all the other tombs and Luxor and all of that. So I loved that. I loved Morocco. I spent 3 weeks in Morocco because of the diverse geography there and the food. And of course, my favorite is also, I just always love Italy. There's something about Italy that resonates with me.
That doesn't surprise me at all. What was the energy like with the King Tut's tomb, what were you feeling?
Almost like I was in a different environment, like just a different place almost. It almost felt like you could be back in time because, they buried their dead with vessels and other things that they felt they needed in the afterlife. And that's such a different feeling. So yeah, I definitely felt like the energy of just being in a different time period, and especially because you're underground too. So it's like you don't see the sun. So it really is an amazing energy to experience. I highly recommend going to Egypt.
Yeah. I haven't been yet, but Julietta has a couple times. And have you been to King Tut's tomb as well? I know you did a special tour.
The first trip I went into King Tut's tomb. I haven't. I didn't go on the second trip, but there's plenty of other tombs to visit, and King Tut's like the most famous, but he's not really the most interesting. So
what? Okay, she's being a little snobby right now, I think.
When you see some of the other tombs, you see the artwork on the wall, on the caves on the wall. It's just incredible.
Yeah. There's and there is just so much to see there, and when before my first trip, I said, this is a once in a lifetime trip, and I came back and I was like, no, that wasn't a once in a lifetime trip. I have to go back. And even after going a second time, I still want to go back again. So working on another tour. So if you want to go with me, get in touch and we'll make it happen.
Put me on the list, Julietta. Put me number 1. I want to hang out with you.
All right. Awesome. All right. We got to get wrapping up here. Our final question, Natalie, is what is the one thing you want our audience to take away from this show today?
Well, at first I was thinking about the nutrition side, but really I think kind of in the vein of what we've been talking about, that you can really create whatever it is that you want for your life, whether it's work or career or family or partnership or spirituality or love. It's there for you, and so it just don't forget that you're not stuck, and life evolves and life changes.
And if you need help with that, they can you can work with them on that.
Yeah, I'm happy to help people going through those changes. So you can find me at amazing-transition.com. And also my YouTube channel is Amazing Life Transitions.
Yeah. And all of that will be available in our show notes. If you want to get in touch with Natalie, if you want to get in touch with Jess or myself or Allison, you can always find our contact information, social medias, websites, et cetera, in the show notes. And I just want to thank you so much again. Thank you for stepping up last minute like this. You were a fantastic guest to have on the show.
Thank you, ladies. It was great to be here and I enjoyed talking with you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Also want to send a thank you out there to Jewel Toned Interiors for sponsoring us. Thank you so much for helping us make this podcast happen. And I want to thank our listeners out there. We know we couldn't be doing this without you. So thank you for tuning in. And if you like what you've heard today, please like, comment, follow, share, subscribe, all those good things. You'll find the links in the show notes as well. And I think with that, it's a wrap. And I want to wish everybody a magical day.
Bye.
Bye.